The room was still humming with the echo of laughter when the silence hit all at once, like a door slammed on a memory. Half-empty glasses sweated on white tables, pastel balloons drooped toward the floor, and confetti clung to shoes that were already gone. I stood alone in the middle of what was supposed to be the happiest afternoon of my year, realizing that everyone had left the party except her. And in that quiet, as sunlight poured through tall windows and dust floated like tiny planets, she stayed and said that now it was just us. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet moments that change lives, take a second right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Touch. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. The party had been planned for weeks, maybe months, though in truth it felt like my entire life had been building toward it. It was a daytime celebration in a rented hall above a small community cafe, all white walls and long windows that let the sun in without asking permission. Streamers hung neatly, a soft playlist played in the background, and the smell of fresh pastries mixed with brewed coffee. The event was meant to mark a new beginning for me, a promotion I'd chased for years, proof that the nights of doubt and rejection had finally paid off. Friends, co-workers, distant relatives, people who said they believed in me, filled the space earlier, their smiles wide and their words loud. I smiled back, nodded, thanked them, but somewhere inside, a familiar ache lingered, the kind that shows up even when everything looks perfect. As the afternoon wore on, the crowd thinned. People checked their watches, remembered other plans, or simply drifted away. Chairs scraped softly as they were pushed back under tables. The music felt too loud for the emptiness that followed, so I turned it off, letting the quiet settle. I told myself it was normal, that parties end, that this was how it always went. Still, the feeling of being left behind pressed against my chest, an old wound reopening. Success, I had learned, doesn't always fill the spaces loneliness leaves behind. I started gathering discarded napkins and straightening chairs, pretending to be busy so I wouldn't have to think. That was when I noticed her still sitting near the window, her hands wrapped around a cup that had long gone cold. Her name was Samira, a name that had always sounded gentle to me, like something carried by the wind. She wasn't someone I knew well, just a quiet acquaintance from work, the kind of person who listened more than she spoke and remembered small details others forgot. I had invited her out of courtesy, never expecting she would actually come, let alone stay. Sunlight framed her as she rose from her chair, the afternoon light softening everything it touched. The city outside moved on as usual, cars passing, people laughing on the sidewalk below, unaware of the small moment unfolding above them. She looked around the empty room, then back at me, and instead of offering an awkward goodbye like everyone else, she stayed. There was no rush in her movements, no discomfort in the silence. It felt intentional, like she had chosen this moment. The truth was, I was struggling far more than anyone at that party knew. The promotion had come with pressure, expectations stacked higher than before. I was exhausted, emotionally thin, carrying years of proving myself without ever feeling like I truly belonged. The smiles I wore had been practiced, perfected. When people congratulated me, a part of me wondered how long it would take before I disappointed them. Standing there with Samira, in a room stripped of noise and performance, I felt exposed in a way I hadn't anticipated. She didn't ask questions right away. She simply helped me gather the remaining plates, moving beside me as if it were the most natural thing in the world. The sunlight shifted as the afternoon edged toward evening, still bright, still warm, casting long shadows that stretched across the floor. In that light, the party decorations looked different, less celebratory and more honest, like remnants of something real rather than staged. I found myself thinking about all the moments in my life when people had shown up loudly but left quickly, childhood achievements applauded and forgotten, relationships that promised permanence but faded at the first sign of difficulty, friendships that thrived in crowds but vanished in quiet rooms. The pattern was familiar, and it had taught me to expect departure. That was why her staying felt so unsettling, so powerful. As we cleaned, memories surfaced uninvited. I remembered the first time I had failed publicly, how the room had emptied just as fast, leaving me to face my shame alone. I remembered the nights I sat at my desk long after sunrise, wondering if effort was ever enough. Those memories pressed in, heavy, and for a moment I had to stop, my hands resting on the edge of a table just to steady myself. Samira noticed. She always noticed. Without making it obvious, she slowed down, matching my pace, giving me space without leaving. There was something profoundly kind in that, a form of empathy that didn't demand explanation. The quiet between us wasn't awkward. It was gentle, like a pause meant for breathing. Eventually, we sat near the window where the light was strongest. Outside, the day continued in its ordinary beauty. Inside, something shifted. I realized how rarely I allowed myself to be seen without performing, how rarely anyone stayed long enough to notice the cracks beneath the surface. The party had been about celebration, but this moment, stripped of witnesses, felt more meaningful than all the applause combined. I thought about how success is often portrayed as loud and crowded, full of people cheering. But maybe true success was quieter. Maybe it was found in moments. Like this, when someone chose presence over convenience, when someone saw you not as a headline achievement, but as a human being standing amid the leftovers of a dream. The challenges I faced didn't disappear in that sunlit room. The pressure would still be there tomorrow, the doubts waiting patiently in the corners of my mind. But sitting there, I felt something new take root, a sense that I wasn't entirely alone, that not everyone left when the celebration ended, that sometimes the most important connection begins after the room empties. Samira eventually helped me carry boxes downstairs, the weight lighter than it should have been. The cafe below buzzed with lunchtime energy, unaware of the quiet transformation that had just taken place upstairs. When we stepped outside, the day greeted us with warmth, the sky clear, the light still strong. There was no dramatic farewell, no promises spoken aloud. Just a shared understanding that something real had passed between us. As she walked away, blending into the afternoon crowd, I stood there for a moment longer, breathing in the ordinary sounds of the city. I felt changed, not because everything was suddenly perfect, but because something had been restored. A small faith in people, a belief that kindness doesn't always announce itself loudly, sometimes it simply stays. Life moved forward after that day, as it always does. Work challenges came and went, doubts resurfaced, victories felt both thrilling and heavy. But whenever I felt the old loneliness creeping back, I remembered that sunlit room, the empty chairs, and the one person who chose not to leave. That memory became a quiet anchor, reminding me that even when crowds disappear, connection is still possible. In time, Samira and I crossed paths more often, not out of obligation but choice. Our conversations grew, rooted in honesty rather than performance. The foundation had already been laid in that moment of shared silence. What started as an ordinary party became the turning point of my understanding of people, of myself, of what truly matters when the noise fades. If this story has touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone who stayed when they didn't have to, take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and let us know in the comments how it made you feel. Your engagement helps spread these stories of quiet kindness and real connection. Before this story ends, I have a special request for you. Please comment just one word that describes how this story made you feel, because your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. Everyone left the party that afternoon, and for the first time I was grateful for the emptiness they left behind. Because in that space, in the full light of day, someone stayed, and in doing so, showed me that sometimes the most life-changing moments begin when the celebration ends and it's finally just us.